This is 6 months with the latest iPhone. I've been feeling a lot more pressure than I should. When I was writing the script for this video, I had less subscribers than fingers on my hands. To be exact, 8 of you. That's not a lot, really. There's not a big audience for me to impress. But I guess that was kind of the point. Because I had to prove to just the 8 of you that your subscription was worth it. The content coming after this would be worthwhile watching. And so while I had millions of ideas flowing through my head, I had to find the one thing that everyone could relate to. And so I thought to myself, what's the one thing we've all fallen victim to? At least for me, many too many times have I been caught falling victim to my phone. It's not something I am proud of, but it brought up the question, is the experience on the latest iPhone really that much different than the experience on any old phone? Well, to answer that, I don't want to do your typical tech review. What I want to do is assess my personal phone usage and come up with some key points. If you want the typical tech review, Marcus Brownlee has a great video you can go watch where he sums up all the key points on the iPhone 16 Pro. Well, what I wanted to do was I wanted to look at my past usage and find the key things that I liked and disliked. And so with that, I found 4 things I really like and 2 things I really don't like. And so with that, here are 6 points for the last 6 months with the latest iPhone. All right, let's start with the 4 things that I liked. The first one was MagSafe. I love having my wallet just on the back of my phone. I can take it anywhere. And if I'm in the car, I just plop on my phone and it starts charging, which is great. Super convenient. All right, the second thing was undo send. I'm not actually going to send a message, but pretty much when you're on an iPhone, you hold down on a message and click undo send if you're messaging another iPhone. I've confessed feelings to a lot of girls that don't know I confess feelings to them thanks to undo send, so that's a convenient one. Let's see what the next one on the list is. Right, AirPods. Love AirPods. As I've shared, I love music, and AirPods are just the easiest way to connect music to my phone. I have AirPods Pro 2nd generation, so technically not a part of the iPhone, but it's part of the iPhone experience, right? They probably aren't the best audio quality, but they're easily the best in transparency and the easiest to connect to my phone, which makes it the most convenient. And the final one is the cameras. There's nothing special about them. They don't have any cool features, right? You got the 5x telephoto, you've got the 1x normal one, and that's the 48 megapixel, and then you've got your 0.5 lens. And they're all really good lenses, and that's what's great about them. They're reliable, and it's well known that iPhone just has some of the most reliable ones, and I like taking a lot of photos. So here's some of the photos I've taken. Not bad. Tell me what you think. But now for the 2 things I didn't like. All right, time for the 2 things I don't like. The first one was actually a huge feature of the phone, and that's the camera control button. You can click on it, and it opens the camera, and hey, look, there I am. And it's great, but the problem is when I'm holding my phone like this and I'm going to take a photo, I don't usually want to be using the camera control because all it can do is really zoom in. That's the only useful thing, I'd say. I mean, you could click on it to take photos and double click, and you can change between a couple things, but really all it's good for is zooming. Because I'm not changing through a lot of settings. I do most of my setting work post-production, right? After I've already taken the photo. And so usually I'm going to take a photo, I have it perfect, right? And then, oops, I touch it. It zooms in a little bit and it ruins the whole shot because it'll be zooming mid-photo and it ruins everything. So really it's just inconvenient. All I ever use the camera control for is opening up. But the problem is I already have an action button on the side. Because I have the camera control, I now have it set to the flashlight. But when I had the 15 Pro, it was literally just set to the same thing. So it's just having a second action button in reality. The next thing I don't like, and this one's agreed upon by most people, Siri. Here's the thing, Siri sucks on iPhone. It either hears you when you don't want to be heard, or doesn't hear you when you want to be heard. I have it disabled. At this point, I only have it enabled if I hold down on it, and I never, ever hold down on it. It is impossibly bad. It can only answer basic Wikipedia questions, and it doesn't even know most things about your own phone until one of the latest updates. And if it doesn't know the answer, what does it do in the beta? It sends you to ChatGPT.
I could just have an action on the action button, send me straight to the live version of ChatGPT, and that would be so much easier to use. And that's what I used for a while until I realized AI sucks in general, so it's not really worth using. So the reality is it's just here to do basic tasks. You want to set a timer? Siri's great. You want to call your friend? Siri's usually good if it can get the name right. But other than that, it's just a horrible assistant. And so those are the two things I don't like about my phone. That was pretty fast. So let's do a summary. What do I think of my phone? Well, ever since I got a smartphone, I've been an iPhone user. For the last 2 years, I've been the latest iPhone user. I had the 15 Pro last year, and this year I've had the 16 Pro. The reality is, though, it's just not worth it. I've spent $3,000 on both phones and all the accessories combined, which is a lot of money for benefits that I'm marginally receiving. And so now that I'm invested, though, I have the best of the best. I paid the premium price, but now I have a smidge better than everyone else. Is it worth it? I don't know. To be honest, I have a plan, and that is on March 4th to change to Android. I will be switching to the Nothing Phone 3A Pro. I don't know how much it's going to be yet, but I know it's a budget phone, so it's going to be a huge downgrade from this phone, hypothetically. What I've learned, though, is a phone is just a phone, and all the features aren't really worth it. So I'd like to assess coming up after this how the transition from Android specifically to a budget phone compares to using a high-end iPhone. If you've made it this far, which is to the end of the video, thank you. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this video, you might consider subscribing to see if next week's any better. But until then, to those who are subscribed, I'll see you in 168 hours, and if not, goodbye forever.